Hey everybody, Steve Jensen, Fish Hunts Guide Service here with another musky fishing basics for you. You know me, I do a lot of glide bait fishing, and we actually caught a beautiful fish on a Hound yesterday filming with Jeff with Team Rhino Outdoors, and it's a technique that I use a lot, and I'm very successful with it. And I just wanted to share a few of the things or a few of the pointers that that may help you be successful with it as well. I use both models, the squirrely Hound, which is the one that has the tail, and then the straight model Hound. And the difference is the curly tail squirrely bait has a little bit shorter glide, so it's a little tighter walk, and the one that doesn't have the tail has a little bit more of a glide, and it's a little bit more erratic. And there's definitely days where they prefer one over the other. So I try them both typically. I've caught more probably on the squirrely, but I do use them both, and they're two different tools. With the squirrely, I like to be real erratic, and most people when they think of glide baits, they think of walking the dog and doing a rhythmic side-to-side action, and that is absolutely not what you want to do. In fact, I want to work it very erratic, and the key with the Hound is incorporate numerous pauses throughout the retrieve. 2, 3, even 4 different distinct pauses, and we actually call it a death pause because the bite almost always invariably comes on that pause. So the key is to be real erratic and incorporate a lot of pauses. Real quick twitches with good long pauses, and you see how easy this bait glides back and forth, and that's the key, is having that bait turn sideways. That gives them the opportunity to strike it sideways or go for the head. When a muskie goes for a jerkbait, it invariably wants to wrap around and hit it from the head. They don't come up from behind them like they do on a bucktail. So I'm working real quick twitches and then a good hard pop with a good pause, and you'll see when I get this in here how quickly that thing will glide to the side. And then that pause right there is where they almost always get it. And you don't want to be rhythmic. I'll go 2, 3, 4, pause, 1, 2, pause. Change it up. You don't want the fish to be able to track it. What you're simulating is a bait fish that's struggling or dying or having a rough go of it. And you want that erratic action with those pauses because, again, it gives those fish the opportunity. So, we're throwing it out. Real quick. Especially this time of year, we're in late summer here, it's August, late August, going into September. The water's still warm, so I'm moving them fairly fast, but again, incorporating that pause. You never want to do the same, you always want to keep it popping around. And I always do an accentuated hard one, usually about 5 to 10 feet out right there, and I get a lot of conversions right on that pause. This bait glides very easily. People have a tendency to want to overwork it. You can actually just do it with the reel, but I generally use a little bit of the rod action too. But just by rolling the handle over, you can get that bait to swing very, very well. As you can see how erratic that is. And I'm generally working it where I can see it, guys, especially in the warmer months of the season. And this bait is good all year round. Typically when I rely on it is when days where the bite is a little bit tougher. When the fish are not chasing or not moving on our bucktails and topwaters. If I've been fishing for several hours with no action, a lot of times I'll pull out the Hounds and try and get that reaction bite. I also like them in the cold water portions of the season, so spring and fall. I rely on them very heavily. The only difference in the spring and fall seasons is I slow the bait down quite a bit. So during the summer I'm working very, very quickly with those erratic pauses. In the fall I'm working much slower, but I'm still incorporating those pauses and actually making them even a little bit longer. If you haven't been trying the Hound, I certainly recommend that you give it a shot. It works very well in just about every lake that I've ever fished, and it certainly works when conditions are tough, and that's the key. Use it when you're not getting bit, and hopefully you'll have some success. And finally, one last tip, guys, to make your gliding a little bit easier. Obviously, this day and age, the longer musky rods are the trend, and it's the way to go if you're throwing bucktails and topwaters, and even the big rubber 8.5, 9 footers, even 10 footers are on the market now. That's the tool for that situation. For gliding, that's the one rod in my boat that's much, much shorter. In fact, I run a 7'6", and I run it in an extra heavy action, so it's a nice stiff rod. The shorter rod and the stiffness of this rod allow me to create that pendulum, which makes that bait glide much easier. And it's a lot easier to work those baits when they're a little bit slower. I prefer the Legend Tournament Series in that 7'6" extra heavy. They call it the jerk, and there's a reason why. It's a great jerk bait rod. The other thing that you want to think about when you're doing glide baits is using a straight wire leader in front of your bait. Obviously fluorocarbon is awesome and we use it a lot, again on our straight retrieve baits, but when I'm gliding I almost always have a straight wire leader in front of it, and again the reason for that is it creates a pendulum for that lure to work on. So it allows it to swing much freer and gives it a lot better action with a lot less effort. So 2 little tips: use a shorter rod, a nice stiff rod, and also put that steel leader in front of your glide baits, and you're going to have a lot more luck.
See that bite? That was awesome.
I'm ready when you are, buddy.
Nice fishing.
Yeah, that is a great one.
Oh.
I just wanted to stress you out a little bit more.
I should have not hooked well, so we could do longer.
Mine is for sure, I think.
That one should be going. She does not want nothing to do with me. Get in there,
Nope,
big old
she doesn't.
Oh, you
Nice fishing.
Yes.
Nice fishing.
That was a sweet strike. Very exciting. Great strike too. Beautiful Musky. Nice green one. Loving it. Boat side on the old Hound. Back. There we go. Beautiful fish. Great strike, eh? Oh yeah, there she goes. Man, we are sliming it up. Love it.